Okay, we go into the whiteboard now. Alright, so don't click off, guys, because I'm going to talk a little bit about the rucksack and the patrol pack here. And rucksack you saw. I forgot to bring out the patrol pack. Now here's the patrol pack. Alright, so basically what I got for winter is I got the Recon Ruck by Spec Ops. And then I did up these pouches up here. These are light machine gun pouches. They were DCU, and then I painted them. Alright, don't be afraid to paint some of your stuff, okay, because if it's nylon, it doesn't hurt it. Alright, so don't be afraid to paint some of your stuff if you have to, specialize up a little bit on your camo. And you don't have to worry about a signature on that either. So, yeah. Alright, well, let's get back to this here. So we're talking about Minuteman stuff. We brought up a few things that the regulars are going to be doing. It's a possibility they could be pulling a polk in the winter time, ski-borne, snowshoes, all that sort of thing, right? Now, as a Minuteman or a Minutewoman, okay, you're going to have to play it by ear, because your situation is different, right? You may not have the kit to do that sort of thing, or you may not be in a situation where you even have to. If you got a couple of acres or something like that, you don't have a big place to deal with, you more or less need to, like, as they say, bug in, make yourself some hidey holes, put some Easter eggs around, stuff like that, right? Okay, because that's what you do in guerrilla warfare, is you put stuff places. So when you need it, you got it. Alright? Now, get back to the old rucksack here. Now, when we talk about the rucksack is your big pack, right? That's the big one. And over in other, countries like UK and Europe, in the UK they call it the Bergen, right? So that's the big one. And then you're going to have your patrol pack, which is good, rucksack is your sustainment. That's your long term, okay? I like to call that your house. You're working out of your house. As you insert someplace, alright? Let's pull up one more whiteboard here. You're gonna insert someplace, right? You always are going to be clandestine when you do your insertion. You don't want people knowing where you are or where you're going. You don't even want them to know that you're there. Alright? So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to do your insertion, and then you're going to establish your patrol base. So your clandestine, your insertion is always going to be clandestine. So you want to go in and establish a patrol base. Basically, if you can, you want to previously select a location or several locations, possible locations. You just go in there and then you decide, okay, now I see what's going on. If you can do a preliminary reconnaissance of the whole area of any place that you possibly want to do a patrol base, okay? Alright, so when it comes time, after you already have selected your location on a map and hopefully you've been able to do an in-person walkthrough of the area, right? Because it's peacetime, you should be able to walk around pretty much wherever you want, unless it's private property. Then you could get that would be a sticky situation. Try not to violate people's private property rights, okay? Just try not to do that. Especially in the United States, it's a very volatile situation. You could get shot depending on where you're at, just because you're trespassing. Now, Next thing is after you selected your patrol base location, you want to go ahead and go in with your group, patrol the perimeter, check everything out, find your strong points and your weak points, reinforce everything. You know, you're going to put out certain things to help you with your security. Okay, so that's the next point. Establish security. When you establish your security, you want to enhance your camouflage in the area. Remember those tools I talked about in the last video? You could bring along nets, things like that, right? And then you want to put out stuff. You know, if you've got certain stuff that you could put out for your perimeter, then do it. Okay. Next thing is you want to establish your routine with your patrol members, right? Security, sleeping, and all that sort of thing. You want to get all those details down, hopefully beforehand. That way everybody knows what's going on when you get in and establish your patrol base. And if you do it all, if you have a meeting beforehand and get all that sorted out, then you will not have to waste valuable time once you've set up your patrol base. Right? Follow me? Okay. We're talking about the rucksack. The rucksack, you're gonna, have this for insertion. I consider your house or your apartment or whatever you like to say. You're gonna live out of that thing, right? That's where you're carrying all your long-term stuff, right? Now I got long-term here. I don't know if this is in the way. This is a little helicopter somebody gave me, made out of spent cartridges. So long-term operation, right? Resupply, question mark, right? How are you going to resupply? You're a Minuteman scenario, so you need to resupply yourself. You are your own logistics, right? Your own logistical support. You're going to resupply yourself. So you take in what you think you're going to need for a certain length of time, and then you may have to send out some runners to get some resupply with empty rucksacks. Okay, that most likely food, right? One thing you want to think about is you want to think about water. Do you have a source for water? Right, so you always need water. Remember, you're going to live out of this little area for a little bit. You may change it up depending on the scenario. You may have several patrol bases. You have secondary and third locations for your patrol bases, so you could move every now and then. You don't want to get pinned down to one location, especially if you've already had some kind of an altercation. Then you don't, and they kind of have an idea where you're at. You don't want to be there if they come snooping around. You see? All right, now down at the rucksack. In the main body of the rucksack, in the very bottom, you're going to have all of your long-term stuff, right? All your extra food, and it's all going to depend on your length of mission, right? Extra food, extra water. You're going to have extra shelter things, right? So if you're not in the patrol base and you're out on patrol, you're probably not going, you don't want to remove as much as possible from your rucksack. Leave most of it in there. You have a few things ready for you when you get back, right? So quick access kit like in the top here. You're talking about your bivvy shelter, something you could just grab and then get into when you get back, right? If you're tired, whatnot, and then you're switching off. Remember, you got security detail to deal with and so on. Now, what do we got in here? In the bottom, we got our long-term sustainment stuff. Extra food, those are your sustainment load, right? In the middle, we want mission-specific stuff in our rucksack. We want stuff that we're carrying in that we're going to be using mission specific. And these are just suggestions, and of course those items are going to change depending on you, right? So we got binoculars, rangefinder, your radio. You want 2 radios possibly. You want extra batteries for all of those radios, and they need to be completely topped up. Ain't no charging batteries in the field. Okay, when you're out there, you know, if you got something with you that you could recharge all of your batteries, like maybe a Jackery cell or something like that. Maybe somebody's the RTO, the designated radio operator, right? Maybe he'll carry that, right? Maybe not. Maybe he'll have you carry something because he's carrying all that heavy batteries and stuff, right? Anyway, you're gonna want a notebook and a ink stick or a pencil to write your notes. You're gonna want 3D camo, right? Leafoflage, those sorts of things are all gonna be mission specific stuff. And up at the top, you want extra ammunition. You want extra ammunition. You want extra power bars and extra ammunition, because if it gets hot, you don't want to get pinned down. You want to be able to extract yourself. Okay? Now, let's move on over here to the patrol pack. So, I only got about 3 minutes left. So, the patrol pack, basically you're going to get some migration. That's what I got here. It says some migration. You're going to have some migration back and forth between your rucksack and the patrol pack. Now the patrol pack is kind of like your car or your SUV or your Humvee, but you're on foot, right? So this is what we're working out of the house, and we have a car or a Humvee or you know, some kind of a vehicle. This is what you're equating it to. You don't necessarily have a house and a car, right? I mean, we're just saying that this is how we work out of our house. We pack things that we need into the patrol pack, and then we go out on patrol. So a patrol is a short-term operation. It's going to be generally from 1 to 4 or 5 days. All right, could be 4 or 5 days. Now 5 days might be kind of long for you in your area. For, you know, just depends on your area and what you got going on. So in the bottom of your patrol pack, you're going to have extra water, and what else do I got down here? Well, I got your extra layers. You might carry a bivvy or a tarp, depending on the weather and the situation. If you're in a situation where it's raining all the time, you definitely want to have some shelter with you. Of course, you're going to carry extra ammunition. Extra ammunition. I don't care what anybody says. You always carry extra ammunition. You go out on patrol, you better have the goods, because if you don't, you could be in a serious situation. Now, in Grenada, there was a situation with a certain unit. I'm not going to talk specifics because I don't want to create issues, right? Certain unit ran out of ammunition, and another unit had to come in and basically extract them because they ran out of ammunition. Okay, that was Grenada. I remember that situation. Alright. So you always want to have extra ammunition. Let that sink into your skulls. Alright, you always want to have extra. You could go lighter on food, because you could survive 3 weeks without food. You could get a little bit weak, you know, but just have a little extra fat on you when you're doing this stuff, because that's your reserves. Okay, you don't have to necessarily eat. You have to have water. So make sure you got a way to filter your water. Make sure you have water on you. But make that ammunition mission specific equipment is the top. That's a top priority. in your patrol pack. Come back in another one.